In 1944, as World War II turned against Nazi Germany, a group of German officers made a shocking decision. They planned to assassinate Adolf Hitler. This was not an enemy attack, but an operation from within Germany itself. The mission was known as Operation Valkyrie. The goal was simple: kill Hitler and take control of the government before chaos could spread. Leading this dangerous plan was Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg, a high-ranking officer who believed that Hitler was leading Germany toward total destruction. The plan required precision, timing, and absolute secrecy. One mistake could mean death. Despite the risks, the conspirators moved forward, knowing that this could be their only chance to stop the war from getting worse. What followed was one of the most dramatic assassination attempts in history. Operation Valkyrie was originally designed as a plan to maintain order in case of internal unrest. However, the conspirators modified it into a plan to seize control of the German government after Hitler's death. The idea was to kill Hitler using a bomb and then activate the Valkyrie plan to take control of key government buildings. This would allow them to replace the Nazi leadership and negotiate peace with the Allies. Everything depended on one critical moment: the success of the assassination. The conspirators carefully prepared every detail, knowing that failure would mean execution. The plan was bold, dangerous, and almost impossible to carry out. On July 20, 1944, Klaus von Stauffenberg carried a briefcase bomb into a meeting where Hitler was present. The meeting took place at the Wolf's Lair headquarters, a heavily guarded location. Stauffenberg placed the bomb near Hitler and quietly left the room. Minutes later, the explosion shook the building. Smoke, chaos, and confusion filled the air. The conspirators believed that Hitler had been killed. Immediately, they began to move forward with the Valkyrie plan. However, something unexpected had happened. Hitler survived the explosion. The table in the room had partially shielded him from the blast. Although injured, he was still alive. This single moment changed everything. The plan that depended on his death was now in danger of collapsing. After the explosion at the Wolf's Lair, confusion spread quickly among German officers. At first, many believed that Adolf Hitler had been killed. However, within a short time, it became clear that he had survived the blast. Although injured, Hitler was still alive and able to communicate with his commanders. This single fact changed everything. The entire success of Operation Valkyrie depended on his death. Without it, the plan began to fall apart. The conspirators, who had already started taking action in Berlin, suddenly found themselves in a dangerous situation. They were now attempting to carry out a coup against a leader who was still alive. As news spread, loyalty within the German military began to shift. Officers who were unsure of the situation hesitated, waiting to see who was truly in control. In Berlin, the conspirators attempted to carry out their plan, believing that Hitler was dead. Orders were given to take control of key government buildings and arrest Nazi officials. For a short time, it seemed like the plan might succeed. However, once it became clear that Hitler was still alive, everything began to collapse. Loyal forces quickly regained control and communication was restored. The confusion that had helped the conspirators at first now worked against them. Officers who had supported the plan began to withdraw their support. Within hours, the coup lost momentum and failed completely. The window of opportunity had closed and the conspirators were left exposed. Once the failure of the operation became clear, the consequences were immediate and severe. The conspirators were quickly identified and arrested. Klaus von Stauffenberg and several others were executed shortly after the failed attempt. Many more were later captured, interrogated, and punished. The Nazi regime launched a widespread crackdown targeting anyone suspected of being involved in the plot. Thousands of people were arrested and many were executed in the following weeks. The failed assassination attempt led to increased control and suspicion within Germany. It showed how dangerous it was to oppose the regime from within. Operation Valkyrie, which had started as a bold attempt to change the course of the war, ended in failure and heavy loss for those involved. After the failure of Operation Valkyrie, Nazi Germany entered a period of intense fear and control. Adolf Hitler, having survived the assassination attempt, became even more suspicious of those around him. He tightened his grip on power and increased security across all levels of leadership. The failed plot exposed cracks within the German military, revealing that not everyone supported the regime. However, instead of weakening Hitler's authority, it led to stronger control and harsher punishments. Many officers and civilians were arrested, and loyalty became a matter of survival. The atmosphere within Germany changed, with fear spreading throughout the ranks. The opportunity to remove Hitler from power had been lost, and the war continued. Many historians believe that Operation Valkyrie represented one of the last real chances to change the course of the war from within Germany. If the plan had succeeded, it could have led to a different outcome. The conspirators hoped to end the war early and prevent further destruction. However, the failure of the assassination meant that the conflict would continue for many more months. During that time, countless lives were lost as fighting continued across Europe. The missed opportunity remains one of the most debated moments in World War II history. It raises questions about how different events might have been if the plan had worked. Today, Operation Valkyrie is remembered as one of the most dramatic and courageous attempts to change history from within. The men involved risk everything in an effort to stop the war and remove a powerful leader. Although they failed, their actions showed that resistance existed even inside Nazi Germany. Their story has been studied, discussed, and remembered as an example of bravery in the face of extreme danger. It also serves as a reminder that history is shaped not only by victories, but also by attempts that nearly succeeded. Operation Valkyrie remains a powerful story of courage, risk, and the consequences of failure.